What's up, tubers? T.O. here, Simplistic Fishing, coming back at you tonight to finish up our lake breakdown series for Lake Livingston. It is time to go offshore and see what we can find out there. I think you guys are going to like this one. For this video, I'm going to use the Navionics boating app to really look at the contours on this lake and really try to find some really good offshore hotspots for you guys to go take a look at. So let's just go ahead. We're going to zoom in down here by the dam. We're going to start on the southeastern side. We'll work our way up north and then come back down the west side. And hopefully we can get all of this stuff together for you guys, on one video. Let's see what we can do here. So let's just start off. Let's talk about this area right in here. We got a really good river channel or creek channel going on right here. You've got some really good points that are up here. You've got a really good swing as well. So notice this nice big river channel swing. So anything in here, any points in this area, those are going to be good. This point especially is going to be good because it bends right up and hits it. And then also, if you look back in here, you also have a secondary little point that's back here. If I zoom in here, you'll see it. It's got a really nice flat top on the top of it, and it's got creek beds that run through both sides of them. So that can be a really good point to go look at. Probably a community hole, but hey, go take a look at it. Also, as you're out here, you could go out and check out these big river channel swings like this one right here. And there's a few more, as you'll see as we go through. There's another one that's way up here too that you could go out and look at, in summertime and stuff like that possibly. But let's keep it a little bit shallower than that. It's getting pretty far out there. Let's go out and look at this next one. This next one looks pretty good. You've actually got some flooded timber, it says, that's right here in this area. And then on top of that, you've got a culvert that's out here right off the edge of a point with a creek bed as well. So all of this sets up pretty well. There could be some stuff relating to those areas, so you definitely want to go look at that. And then if you look closely and you follow this creek bed back, there's a little point that's right there as well. It's not much of a point, but that could be a nice little staging area before they decide to come back up in here and do their spawning. So just look at it. There might not be anything there, but that could definitely be a nice little feeding table for them. And I would say that these docks that are back here, because this creek bed's back here, it makes these docks be a lot more productive docks than maybe some of the other docks. You definitely want to go check those out. All right, so let's move on up here and see what else we can find on this side. Again, you've got those big turns, right? Those river channel swings, one right here. You got a big bend right in here as well. You got some pretty good stuff that's way out here. I mean, some of this stuff's probably more striper and white bass crap, but sometimes you can find some giants way out there. I like this one that's up here by the island as well. So let's go ahead and keep moving up this east side and show you guys where I'm at. We're going to this first little pocket. So we came up here from the dam, and now we're right here in this little pocket. We got a few different areas to look at right here. Let's see if I can zoom in and get it all on one thing. I don't think it's going to let me, so I'm going to just go right here and we're going to take a look at this. So right in here, I really like these spots as well. You got flooded timber here, which I like this point. And if you look at the inside of this point, it's got a nice little drop, so a nice little spot for them to kind of hang out. I like that with the creek bed being there. You've got this awesome point too. Look at this one, comes way out. It's big and flat, so check the top, check the sides, check the point. Especially go over here and check where this creek bed is. There's a submerged culvert there. There's a little bend there. There's the point there. That place in there looks like it could be pretty productive for sure. And then we move back here. We come into this next one, this next little pocket. Of course, we got the creek channel in there. I didn't see too much going on here. Looks like it could get pretty shallow, but this could be a submerged culvert there. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. Navionics says there's a submerged culvert there. If there is, definitely go check it out. They love to hang out around that kind of stuff. You see that creek bed coming through there, so it just brings food to them. It's a really good spot for them to just basically hang out and wait for the food to come to them. Now, as you're out here, you've got some bigger humps that are here. There's a hump out here at 45 something feet. Which actually that's a hole, not a hump, that actually goes down. So a little creek channel or river channel swing right there. That one comes up to 31 foot down to 41 foot. So that stuff's getting pretty crazy. When you get out here, here's the things that I would probably focus on. If I was going to get out there really deep, I'd be looking at these submerged bridges in 30 something foot of water. 40 foot or less, That's kind of more my comfort zone, and this would definitely be in play. If there's a submerged bridge there, I would definitely go out and take a look at that bridge. All right, so I'm gonna move back here, kind of show you, we came out of that pocket. Next thing is we're going up this bank line. There's not too much to find in here, but if you zoom in enough, you're gonna notice that there's a roadbed right here. And so sometimes these roadbeds are still there and you can find them and they're just phenomenal. Those bass would just use them, just going up and down them, chasing bait, and the bait will just hang around them all day, and you can find just juicy hot spots just in the randomest places on these roadbeds. So if there is a roadbed there, definitely go and take a look at that and see if you can find it. You'll also notice out here, oh, it says stump. I thought that might have been a rock bed or something like that. Now, as we go up here, a couple more things you can look at. This says there's an old pond here, so maybe take a look at that dock, some submerged culverts and things like that, but nothing too special. So from an offshore standpoint, you can see it's fairly shallow. That's why it has that blue color to it. But if we get out here a little bit further, now we're a little bit further up lake, right? And we get out here, obviously you have this huge flat that's back here. This thing's pretty giant, doesn't get very deep, 13 foot deep. But as you come out here, you'll start to notice you've got some humps that are out here. So this is some pretty cool stuff, a little 18 foot, 15 foot. You got a roadbed, it says there's a roadbed in here too. So if I zoom in, you'll see this roadbed moving back and forth. So here's your little roadbed that's coming right here, and there's your hump. So anywhere in here would be really good from an offshore standpoint. It just sets up really good, and it just looks like it could be very productive. Also out here, you got another one of those humps. That's right here. And remember how I said that was a giant flat? So basically, here's that giant flat that I was talking about. And if you can get out on the outside edges of these flats, sometimes you can find some money spots. You can find some money spots on the flats themselves too. But if you look right here, this looks really good. I don't know what these dots are. We'll zoom into them in a minute. But the edge of this flat just looks really good. It even has a nice little point that comes out. And whatever this is going to be a roadbed. So anywhere fishing around these roadbeds are going to be really good. So you got some foundations there too. That roadbed, I would definitely find those roadbeds. Come in here and just find them. Here's another roadbed on the flat. They'll set up on that stuff big time. So just go in, kind of mark them with Navionics if you can. Just see what you can find. Even over here, especially where you come down and you've got the flat where it comes here and you got a little creek channel coming in. I mean, off the turns right here, or like right in here too. Those can be good spots to go look at. I like this area in here. I like these giant flats. I'm really starting to understand flats now even more than I did before. I'm starting to take more advantage of them, and they've really been productive areas for me lately, especially early on in the fall that we're in right now. Now, as we move a little bit further up here, you're going to notice this little point here, and I just marked it for you because it's got a lot of interesting things going on for it. One, it's the deepest spot right before you get to this flat. So I could see them hanging out in this area. And two, it's a point. So if it's a point, you definitely want to fish it. Then we move up around this point. Let me show you guys where I'm at. I'm back out again. I'm up in this area now on the northern side of the lake. And as I come up here, a couple things I like about this. Here's that, oops, sorry about that. Here's that little point we just talked about. But look at this next point that we come up to. It's got a creek channel going really, really close to it. So definitely coming out here and see what you can find out here and fishing these docks, basically from right there all the way until you get to pretty much right here where I have that dock. I guarantee if you go down here and you just spend your time fishing these docks that are all around this riverbed, that is going to be some productive days for you. Now, maybe not every day is going to be great, but I'm telling you, those are probably some of the primo docks in the lake and some of the docks that I would definitely spend some time fishing around and seeing if the fish are relating to them. Now, as you come off that kind of bluff, underwater bluff, I guess you could say, that's down there, right where it ends, you guys hear me talk about that a lot, especially in these lake breakdowns. Right where it ends, those are really special places. So if you can find it, they're probably going to be setting up there. You definitely want to go look in that area. All right, so I'm going to keep moving down. We're down here by the Indian Hill waterfront, and we've got a couple things down here. You can see there's a big swing that's going on right in here. So this could be like an old river channel or riverbed or something like that. And then you've also got a point that's down here. Well, this point is very close to where you see whatever they call it, the alligator hole, I guess. But where you see the alligator hole, it's right there, that nice point right there, nice flat top. Looks great from a contour perspective. Definitely something I would go look at. And then also back in here, it says there's flooded timber back in here. There's flooded timber everywhere, so I guess I won't point that out. But let's go back up. Let's follow this back around. You can see here, guys, anywhere I see these seabed areas and they get close to anything close to the bank line, or even if I just see the seabed areas, I always got to go out there and check them out and just see, because you'd be amazed at what you can find in some of these areas. Now, this doesn't look very good. There's nothing really special about this, but maybe right here, just right where those little tight lines are, maybe right in that little spot, right where that kind of bend happens. Maybe this looks like an old pond. I thought it was an old riverbed, but it looks like an old pond. And maybe that's why they call it the alligator hole. So we're gonna move over here a little bit further. We've got another good point. You can see it's got the flat top on it. I like fishing on the edges of those points too. Those can always be productive areas. And then as I back out here and I come in here to this area, of course, be careful everywhere you go on this lake, there's timber. So we don't have the lanes for these lakes. I wish we did. But if we look out here, we've got some pretty interesting stuff. I've kind of lost my contours here, but we've got a pretty good looking point. You got flooded timber that's going in here. You've got creek beds. And if you look at this creek bed right here, it actually swings up and gets really close to this point and these two docks. So I'd fish these two docks for sure and around that point. And then you could even follow it back and hit this dock and that dock. That dock, anywhere that creek bed hits the dock, those are going to be good docks. So you'll definitely want to go fish those. All right, so let's move up here, see what else we can find. Got two more spots up here. We got a nice little point that comes out. You can see it come out right here, and then you've got some really nice contours that are going on right here in this area as well. And I think everywhere we're seeing this green stuff is flooded timber. So anytime you see that highlight on Navionics on my phone, that means there's flooded timber in the area. And like I said, there's a lot of it. You can't see it until I zoom in, but once I zoom in, you can tell it's all over the place. So also when you come out here, looks like you have an old railroad track. So a submerged railroad track, you've got a creek bed, you've got a culvert. I've had some really good success fishing around those submerged bridges and those submerged railroad tracks, so that's definitely something I would go look at. It looks like you're gonna have to kind of go through the timber to find it, but if you were able to come up and just follow that track down, you'd be able to basically bypass all of the timber. All right, so let's keep going up. Let's see what we can find up here. Now we're getting into Caney and Sandy Creek. We get up here, a couple things to look at here. We got these boat ramps that are up here, which those aren't really offshore, but definitely something to look at. But let's look at these spots. Right here, you got a nice little rounded point. Just could be a really good spot to look at. It's really close to that ramp, and so it's probably got some riprap and stuff close by, so something to look at. You got a submerged culvert that's out here off of this point, plus this point's got a really nice flat top on it. So you could go out there and check that out, the flat on top of that point for sure. Another one of those submerged culverts back there. You know, I don't know if that's the thing for this lake or not, if those culverts are still there. Like on Ray Hubbard, it shows those culverts are there, and then I go back and look, and some of them are there and some of them aren't. So it's like 50-50 whether or not their culvert's there. But if they are there, they definitely can produce some fish. So let's go up here. We're going to go up here to Cedar Point now, and we're up off of Cedar Point. Obviously, the point's going to be good, but if you look on this side of the point, the creek channel or the river channel swings right up here in this area. So this is primo area, primo dock, all the way down the side of this point. So if you're going to fish the point, definitely fish the point, but whatever you do, make sure you swing over and you fish this bank line basically from this point right here to that dock. That's going to be a very high percentage area for you to go look at. Let's go on up here. It said something about black bass, crappie, and catfish. Interesting. All right, so as we go up here, we're going to see what else we can find in this big old mess of words. But as we get up here, let's see, we've got this right here. Obviously another good point, right? Creek channel coming through here, just right over there off the edge of that point. Those docks are going to be really good docks to fish. They probably get tired of people fishing their docks all the time, but their dock is just in a primo spot. So that means that they're going to have to get fished. And then as you get back in here, you can see there's a nice little creek channel that comes back in here. It says there's black bass and crappie. I don't know what all these little points are. They just say soundings. I don't know if those are old foundations or what they are. But if we zoom in here, if I'm coming back here to fish for largemouth, especially in the spring, this would probably be a pretty good place to come look. You know, fish where these big turns are, or anywhere where that creek channel gets close to those docks. So these docks are going to be good. And then fish outside the dock right here where that bend is. And then come out here, look at the bend out here, and then come up here, look right in here around these bends. Definitely look on these soundings too. If those are old foundations or something, you might want to look there too and see what you can find there. But obviously if it's called Bass Alley, there's something going on in here, but you can see this creek bed is really producing a lot of good stuff for you to fish around, some good structure and things like that. Probably should have put a mark on each one of those. I might add those marks in there. All right, so let's move this back up. We've got over here as well, you've got this bridge. Underneath the bridge, it looks like there might be some timber or something like that. I'm not sure what's under there. It could be another submerged road too, like an old road. Let me zoom in, see what it says. Don't know if it's gonna tell us or not. Just says fishing or diving hotspot. There's the submerged bridge right there. So I meant to move my mark right there, but fish the submerged bridge and then make sure you're fishing the corners of the bridge. Those are always easy spots to pick up a couple keepers, especially if you're in a tournament or something like that. All right, so let's move down here. We're gonna come across, show you guys where I'm at. I'm way up here at the top of the lake. I didn't see too much up here. It just gets too shallow, just not really an offshore thing. I think from an offshore standpoint, if I was gonna fish offshore up here, I'd basically just relate everything to that creek channel. So I'm fishing this point, I'm fishing this point. As far as I can go up, anytime it turns, I'm looking here. This looks like maybe a giant flat or something. So right there off the edge of it where the creek channel touches it, you know, even coming up here, this looks like it could be a boat lane. So you might have boat lanes that take you up here. If you do, it might actually be worth coming up right here. You've got the little river channel, a little point going on right in here. I could be totally missing the boat here. This might actually be where most of your largemouth bass fishing happens. It's just hard to tell from an offshore standpoint. I can't tell. There's not enough contours here when you see what's going on, but you definitely got the river channel. So basically follow that channel, and anywhere that channel gets close to the bank line, you're gonna wanna fish it, which is a lot of the area going up there. So let's move back down and see what else we can find down here on the safer end of the lake, I guess I'll say. I don't know if there's any safe parts in this lake, but notice here again, we've got flats. And the flats are always great places to go look for fish, especially if you can find the edges of the flats. And if you find a flat with a riverbed or a creek bed that's running against it, now you found money. And right here, you've got all of that going on. Plus you have a nice little turn or a little bend right there in the creek channel. So something to look at for sure. Moving down here, you've got this big turn right here too, coming off of the top of these flats. So this looks like, you know, 18 foot. So that's really not that big of a drop. So you definitely want to look there. I'm going to go ahead and mark that one for us, so we have that next time. And then moving down here, you got another nice turn, something to check out there for sure. Maybe even both sides of him. I want to look over here too, but this stuff looks good. Looks like it could be a lot of fun in the summertime, you know, just really getting out there and fishing offshore. So let's move over here more to the left, see what else we can find over here. Right here we have a hump. And then moving down here, I'm not sure what in the world this was, but it looks like you got flooded timber, you got a creek bed, and you got somewhat of like a little 5-foot little ledge or something like that going on right in here. So just something to look at. Not sure from a confidence level how good I feel about that one, but something to look at. Let's keep moving down and see what else we can find. Just zooming out to show you where I was at. Let's zoom back in. We're coming up here, getting close to the shallows again, but nice little point right here, 4 foot, so really shallow on top, and then just follow it kind of out until it breaks and see what you can find. But that could be a pretty good spot, especially come fall time. Moving down here, kind of the same type thing. You got some pretty decent little flats that come out here. Just follow them out to where they either make a point or something like that, and you've got the creek beds on both sides. That makes them definitely more higher percentage than most. And then over here, you'll notice this whole side's pretty shallow, not a lot going on from an offshore standpoint, but some pretty good stuff out here. I don't know what this is, like a little hump that's out here or what, but really good creek beds coming through here, nice little ledges that are out there. Definitely some Carolina rigging kind of stuff that you could check out. Let's go a little bit further. We've just got a few more points to talk about. Let's get in here and let's point these out. Hopefully I'll quit making you sick with my finger and show you this with the mouse. But as we get back here, we've got a submerged culvert that's back in here. This is the Wolf Creek Park area. And then over here, if you look really closely, there's a little underwater point. So if I zoom in, you'll see it. It's right here, nice little point, and notice how the creek bed, it hits this little flat that comes out in this little point, especially right here in this area. And then if we move over, you're gonna notice there's a little creek bed that comes through here. It's creating some pretty good drops on both sides. Those can be really good little areas to look at too, nice little pinch points. Same thing over here with this creek bed. It's kind of bending right there, kind of touching the edge of the point, so maybe something out here in this area. You could find some fish collecting up in that spot. And then, of course, you know, right here, this looks like an old pond. I thought it was a river channel at first, but it looks like an old pond. But maybe just go check it out, see if we can find anything out there. Let's keep moving down. We've got, I don't know, maybe 10 more points left, if that. But as we move on down, we've got some cool things here. We've got a nice point with a creek channel. Looks like we got some kind of a piling or something like that that might be out there that you could fish around. And then when you get back in here where this bridge marina is, this looks pretty cool. You've got, you got this nice little creek channel that comes through here, right? So fishing these docks are probably going to be pretty good. And then this point right in here, this looks like it could be good too. It's got the creek bed close to it and this point as well. So fishing both those points and fishing those docks, those can be productive areas. We come back in here too. Notice the river channel coming back through here. And it has a little turn right in here, right off this point. So this point could be good. And then also right here where that little intersection is, those docks could be good too, over in that area. You've got the creek channel kind of moving through here so you could fish these bends too. You could get out here and fish where these corners are and see what you could find in there. And then as we move a little bit further in, I didn't see too much right in there, so I don't have anything to show you there, but let's move back. And let's go back. We've got, what, two more points to show you. So that's going to be right down here. If we go down here, it looks like there's some kind of a well or something like that, like right here in this area. And if that's true, that well could be pumping out oxygen or something like that. So those are always good areas to go look at and just to check out. And then as we move further down here, this is the same type thing. It says there's another one of those wells that's right there in that area. That may not be anything, but anytime I see that marked, I always go check it out. Looks like you might have a few more back in here. Oops, it keeps bringing up that stupid weather thing. Keeps bringing that over here. That just says obstruction and stumps. So just be careful while you're out there. Obviously this thing's got a lot of stumps as we saw in the Google Earth video, but that actually covers us for all the offshore hotspots for Lake Livingston. Make sure to go check out the website, simplisticfishing.com. We have all these waypoints, plus hundreds of other lakes out there for you guys to go check out. Until next time, I hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.